It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Well, this past week, it's wintertime here. It's not the nicest of weather. Well, we kind of stay a little closer to home during the winter, which is nice. I'm able to get done a lot of projects. And this past week, we were out at the park, our neighborhood park here. And a lot of our parks here I'm in Spokane, Washington. A lot of my parks, they're kind of like a wooded area with a trail, right? Like people think parks, you might think like city parks. Yeah, we got those, but like that's not what I have. So we're walking around and somebody has been dumping rock at this park, which is funny. Clearly this is not a Spokane rock. These are a couple of agates that somebody left at the park. You can see very, very much so that kind of agate. I picked up a couple. It's being that it's cold and snowy, I'm sure there might be more under there. But I was thinking it might be kind of fun. I'll probably cut and polish these, and then I'm going to return them to the park. Take some of their rocks, cut and polish them, and leave them back there for somebody else to find, which I thought was kind of fun. It'll be good. It'll be good. Projects are a great thing to take care of in the winter, and on the past Saturday night special, I showed you my new old Lortone vibrating lap, the FL20, and I made some good headway this week with it. I got some replacement vibration balls in the mail, which was awesome. We'll look at these guys here. So here's the ones that it came with, where we have that's entirely squished, right? We have 3 different balls. That's not going to cut it. Here we go. We have some new old stock Lortone balls. So I have these. Picked them up at Kingsley for $5. Well worth it. So a little bit, things. There's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff with these old lapidary machines that people never talk about. Often. And people will say, oh, you just get an old machine and you fix it up and you're good. And I question how often people have actually done that, because there's so many hurdles that a person can experience when you actually have to restore a machine. And I don't mean just like the painting of a machine, but I mean a legitimate restoration. So here's the motor. This is the motor off of my FL20, and it is not made anymore. That Dayton is not made. Model number no longer. The replacement motor is no longer. So something in this form factor I can't find for the life of me. This is a little tiny 1/15 horsepower motor, and that's that, right? Like, what are you going to do? Well, my buddy Frank, he recommended a local place for me, BL Best. And this place, okay, one thing that you need to remember, right? When you start restoring these machines, you kind of have to have places like this in mind, where it's not like a Home Depot, but you go in and there's just like 9 million bins of stuff, and you basically just ask for help, and help they did. And I have a replacement motor here, which it's almost an exact replacement, and if anything, I think it'll actually function better, but I do have to make some modifications. So you can see my form factor here is slightly different. We have this little, I think that there's 2 bushings in here, so that shaft is riding in these 2 bushings in this enclosure here. So I have to make some modifications to get this up and running, but man, it's perfect in every way. Everything else will match. I have to make my own bolts here. So these run all the way through, and that's how it's going to attach to the bottom plate, and it's going to create the motion. Well, I have some 8/32 all threaded rod here. and I'm going to have to extend these a little bit. And there's just a lot of steps. There is a lot of steps to doing a machine restoration, you know. One more example of how this can get difficult quick. So this bearing, right? This is the bearing that there's like a collar inside it, and it slips down there. Well, here, let's see if you can hear this. That is the sound of a bad bearing. Now, what a difficult bearing to try to find. And an expensive bearing, depending on where you want to look. If I had to guess, the cage on the inside of this bearing is toast, probably a little bit broke off, and has been creating a bunch of wear and not good. So this bearing gets trapped in this flange. So, you know, there it goes in a flange, and there's another half to the flange. And if you were to buy this on McMaster-Carr, $75 for this bearing, which I'm not paying $75 for this bearing. I did manage to locate a old bearing on eBay, which does match. And yeah, I mean, there's some other places I found it were a little bit cheaper than McMaster. But I hope that the new bearing either shows up good, or I can, between the two of them, I can rescue, take it apart and save it, you know. So you can fully disassemble and rebuild a bearing. But these are things that nobody talks about when we're restoring these old vintage lapidary machines, you know. I mean, maybe, you know, you're the type of person that you're cool rebuilding a bearing and finding motors and all this stuff. I think for a lot of people, though, it can be overwhelming. I also did a little bit of work on the trays. I have my carpet down. I have some bumpers. It's good. It's good. It's coming along. Very, very stoked about it. And, you know, it's happy. 2 thumbs up. Well, here's the thing, people. I know nothing of jade. Nothing. You know, jadeite, nephrite, don't know anything about it. I do know that there's lots and lots of posts on the Washington Rockhounds groups, different places, videos of, you know, here in Washington, where people will be like, I found jade, and then there's never any follow-up. Never any follow-up whatsoever. Did they do any tests? I have no idea. So I don't have any jade in the collection. We've never found jade. We never went and looked for jade. And it's not a thing I know much about, but I'm trying to change it. Wintertime, time to read. This showed up in the mail. I'm not all the way through it, but so far, I must say, I am impressed. I am very, very impressed. This book covers so many aspects of Nephrite Jade of Washington. It's incredible. This is like a ultimate crash course. It's not a quick and fast read. You know, I can digest a book, but I'm finding myself kind of going through and rereading certain aspects to it. There's a couple of things, though, that I really like about it so far. There's a great quote in here. Let some beginner have a chance to figure out that 90% of the jade collected should have been left on the gravel bar. Love it. Yeah, you know, a lot of our jade out here is low quality, fractured up stuff, not great. But this has a ton of photos, a ton of really good photos. You know, it's nice to see some of the rinds on it, because that's the thing. Like, you know, basically all of the Nephrite jade needs to be cut to be truly enjoyed. But that's not how you find it. You don't find it cut, right? So it's cool, very very good so far. And maybe in the coming week or so, when I finish it, I can have a solid recommendation for you. But he does show some of his Raman spectroscopy that he has done, and some of his XRF and XRD results, which it's very cool for somebody to both be knowledgeable, share that knowledge, share their homework and the answers and all of it all in one thing. Like, it's not a guidebook in the traditional sense, in that it's like go here. But he does mention some creeks and stuff, which is very cool to have something. I mean, the areas that the jade is found is very well known already. It's not like a secret, but the locating of it in those areas is challenging. Chilly out here. Well, what can I say about this past week out at the Rat Hole Mine with my buddy Ian? I mean, it was cool to go out there with Sarah, locate it. Cool to be able to go back with my buddy Ian and see the inside of the rat hole. You know, one of the things that I learned pretty quick in my love of rocks and minerals is that you shouldn't like pigeonhole yourself into only being into one thing. There's so many things out there, and you should really try to like open your mind up and be like, is this something worth looking into? I think so. This is some of the specimens we brought back from there, and we can kind of see, yeah, there we go. You can see some of the more nice pieces of alternate in there, and of course some of that dust. Don't care for the dust very much. But generally out here in the shop, we're, you know, like 15 to 16 counts per minute, which that's like the count of the ionizing events. And, you know, this stuff is not super radioactive, mild. There's clearly an increase with it. I would say all the stuff from the Rat Hole Mine, although abundant, was somewhat low quality, to be completely honest. Doesn't have any value from an ore perspective. It doesn't have any value from a collecting perspective, but it does have a value from an experience perspective, which is fun. And you know, it's just kind of not the best stuff. Well, I do have some of the best stuff. Look at those beauties. Look at that. Look at those crystals. Man, I love it. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And this is significantly more radioactive, these specimens from that location. Interesting to me. You know, and the fact that it's UV reactive is very cool. Like, I love a good fluorescent, or phosphorescent mineral, just as much as the next guy. This is the only good UV light I really have. We're not going to make you hear this thing click away here. We'll get these guys out of here. Those will go into my my storage, my radioactive storage. But yeah, you know, the UV, it really opens up a whole other world to like rocks and minerals. You know, this isn't the most high quality light in the world. I don't have one of those. I would love one. I would love to have like one of the, you know, like UVA, UVB, UVC lights, like when the, you know, it's kind of a bigger thing. That would be quite, it would be a blast. I would love it. I would love to have one of those, but man, those are, they're too much for this guy. Too much for this guy. My buddy James, he knows I'm a reader. James, thank you very much. He sent me The World of Fluorescent Minerals. Now, I feel like I might be able to rip through this book pretty quick. My goal for the winter is to not have a stack of books waiting to be read. But this is pretty good. Lots of high-quality photos in here, which is very educational to kind of just see, you know. I mean, a big part of Rocks and Minerals being the visual aspect, man, a book with high-quality photos is awesome. One thing that I saw in here, I gotta take gloves off. One of the things I saw in here, right, that I thought was pretty interesting, which I would love to look into more. The documenting and displaying your collection, those sections. Like, I got to work on my curation somewhat. And thank you, James. You know me. Man, books, everybody. Read everything. Well, I'm hoping to we'll have a little bit more work done on the Vibe Lab over the coming week. Next week's video will be a fun prospecting adventure for those of you who like some good prospecting fun. And I will catch you on the next video.